And how much did you put in, would you say?
I just put enough to,
like you put in
wet it.
2 tablespoons.
Oh, I put in about a tablespoon into there.
Okay.
So now you can already smell the tea, the flavor that it has.
And that's enough, you say? I mean, I use so much.
Yeah, for sure.
So already each tea has its own flavor, and you handle it.
Now, yes, if you're going to sweeten, you can use the honey.
And so the first round, does anybody have
They always
a
like
second
that.
hand around?
Second hand.
It's going to be about 40 seconds.
Right there.
And that will steep for about 40 seconds. And it will get the first layer of the flavor of those leaves. And then that gets poured into here for serving. And so that it won't continue to steep. Because you don't want to kill it. It will just be bitter. And actually, I should have waited for this to cool. You boil it and you let it cool for about a minute.
Oh.
So it's not an active boil. So otherwise, it's too much for these little. These are little green shoots that come out in the spring. That's what green tea is. It hasn't been fermented or anything. It's just the pure little green tea leaves, and they're very tender. So like actively boiling water is just going to attack it, and it just breaks it up too much. So you want it to be a little bit mellow. I forgot to watch the clock.
Okay, it was on 9.
It was a 9. All right, let's pour it out. So that's going to have its own flavor, which is going to be different than the next layer of flavor.
You might fill the water up several times.
Yeah, I would say maybe, I don't know, 5 or 6 times I could use the same tea leaves. Yeah, so when people think of green tea as bitter, it's because they've oversteeped it.
Oh.
They're used to like, okay, got 2 minutes or 2 to 4 minutes, and that's too much. So this won't, theoretically, it won't have the same bitterness that you associate with tea.
In my tea book that I was reading, you don't let the water boil, but when it sounds like the winds with the pine is when you take it off and pour. It would end up being exactly, it's very much similar to what you were talking about. Not a rolling boil, it's just a little. Then it's ready.
When it's
So it's a very sensual practice
Put
to
that
drink
down on my
tea.
new word and practice word Wordsworth.
So you can,
I'll share this with Ms. Anna.
so just smell it. See the layer, that first layer.
Oh, that is nice.
Thank you.
That's really
Smell it?
nice.
I mean, that's just, that was what, 50 seconds? It may even be too much.
Oh, yeah. They do it very much so.
Yeah.
Want to taste?
Yeah. Well, you can see how the leaves have really changed their
yes.
look. They've expanded. These are
And it's greener.
So the last time I had tea down this way was like 300 the rooms, they were not tables.
Oh, you were at a tea ceremony.
Well, it was a very tea ceremony.
This is no tea ceremony.
Perfect.
Little sort of
Close enough.
ceremony.
And then it became, for me, ways to make experiential little puzzles, and there'll be some upstairs of the little things that acquaint somebody with how water hits watercolor paper, for instance. And I only had 20 hours to do it in because we had 10 sessions of 2.5 hours apiece. So with those restrictions, I got into some very basic information. I use no watercolor vocabulary. Okay, in fact I invent some of my own to get around a few of the maneuvers and make everything experiential. And then of course if it's that way, then there's nothing wrong with anything. It's always an experiment.
Every
silence and applause.
Every
Wonder.
Yeah, every student
Okay.
in that class feels it's also validated as emerging artists, and you meet every one of us where we
The
are.
funny thing is that you have that because I have, degrees of sophistication from didactic teachers. Okay, and I would not do the things that you do. And then I watch the way it turns out for you, and upstairs is Claudia's things that are another experimentation, and we don't know what's going to happen. I don't. And it's just wonderful to see. Okay, and I was a graphic designer, typographer, illustrator, so I could do anything anybody ordered. Okay, and within a time frame, depending on what the contract was for. It could be fast and sloppy or tedious and long-lived or something like that. And then my own painting was done for my own enjoyment always. I never marketed, sustained. There was always a chance that, I'm still waiting to be discovered. And that's why I have the world's largest collection. Yeah, she wore fairly short hair. We'll see a few pictures of her around at different times. That's my kid sister, who came over from the Catholic school next door dressed in a Harlequin costume.
Is she actually that good looking, or did you glorify her?
They're all good looking. I haven't found a healthy person that wasn't really attractive ever. That's, for me, it's...
She's like an administrative assistant.
Administrative
for
assistant.
For these MIT guys. She probably keeps their life in order for them.
Oh, they can get to the moon, but they can't get back to Chicago without her. This is the way I
Probably
phrase
get
it.
down the hallway.
They are amazing, and right now with Huckfield in there wanting all one moon at the same time, and none of them is important enough to change the date, or they're all too important. Oh, can you find the dog on the back fence? They were two gals, and they were talking to, it's love, and once I heard I love, then I start edging towards them backwards like this so I can listen. And they say, and what's really does it is this little dog running along the back fence.
Oh, I see it up there on the left, but I didn't know it was a dog.
I didn't either.
I know.
But now it is, and I can't get rid of it.
I know, it's in your head.
It's in my head, it's in all of those.
Hold on.
Painting of just urban area, like many of these little urban things. I just celebrate going out and watching. And somewhere, right here,
To me,
part of the phenomenon.
that is Lizzie Borden's bedroom.
See, she's in the left brain, and it's not even down here. No, it says sunlight and tree jumps, and for kitties. So the idea that Lizzie Borden's in there is getting kind of eerie.
It looks to me like
These here in the morning on Waltham Street in the South End. That's where I brought my son every day for his car. And I get down there and I find a parking place on Waltham Street because I was sitting in comes right down the side of my property.
Now see, I see the
And it's a painting I brought into I took advertising design when I was Conger Metcalf is a wonderful artist, great anatomist. They're all here. In fact, you're looking at the arc as you come in.
well, I get that impression very strongly.
Well, then there were a couple of others that we don't know where they were.
They're behind one of these piles somewhere.
I was just to paint landscape until my son started dancing. And then I was stuck in a ballet studio for just sketch the dancers, so there's just any number of those. And then of course these were when they first came, and then because
Be one of those trees.
these were I was fascinated.
Well, yeah, I have a shiny one. It's pretty good, but this one.
Well, most of these were framed up for one show I had for working 25 years. Crap. like grading students, and you hear me go on about trying to grade painters, which I was, or even at
Larger there, were they? Oh, what did you
with years up there, and then yes, I have 3 copies of that. And so that happened here, and so that one came from this one, and the one in the hallway was done in a similar situation. And I started painting the edge of the things there. Get to the, so there was a way of implying the depth of something that was essentially abstract.
It was a real one.
Yeah. Oh no, she was.
Bacon and eggs.
Yeah, that's when I began painting the sides, and the same with some of these larger ones. Yeah, that one I had started years ago, and I just got. Oh, I have no compunction about working into stuff. Stochastic aerial and things. Yes, and this. You should put another one.
Oh, there's the dog.
There's the original. And changing the
So is
mood.
this real work?
No, these are all mine.
These are yours.
Yeah. I haven't got many of Millie's. So these are the changes that I do. And these under here, this is an old habit of just putting one job on top of the other.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he showed us this in class. I got this in the studio.
All of Millie's up. This is the last. You have a particularly religious feeling when you hit this one?
No. At least.
The Titian was an appropriated narrative. It's supposed to be a painting of the tapestry.
Now, which are...
Ariadne, somebody, and so she painted this, she wove this scene, and that was Titian's painting.
Ah.
Okay.
And there's
I know.
there's a
I remember
Europa.
vaguely.
Paper that I got. TJ Lyons had a storage space. He bought all storage place that he kept in. They came in little packages of 500. Okay, tied with wrapped in pink paper, tied with blue ribbons with a bow. And these would be the unordered life and the pull between
Now,
them.
this is done with tape. Like,
Yeah, there's some of that.
like
that-
Claudia was doing.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, you can see Claudia's. They're up next door. Other Europa.
Okay. Yeah.
The type of thing I do for hand letters and drawn, and Louis Connor was my sustaining commercial job. Them all hang and unwrinkled. That black and white was done for the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, the 4th Stream Jazz Group. Okay, and a while ago. That was
While ago.
Yes, they were all a while ago. Winter, there's a big old willow tree up by the Chestnut Hill Reservoir. And there's a lady walking 2 dogs on the left-hand corner.
Yes.
You see her down there?
Oh, I see on the left. Yeah.
I might have
Here.
those.
Okay. So I thought that would be fun, and there's more piles over there. Oh, there was a long interlude where I dealt with, oh, this was real fun. I dealt with, oh, yes.
Okay, we've just gone around the circle. No, this is different.
This is the real living,
Oh.
the living down below.
Wow. This one. That's cool.
They thought I was holding one of those peculiarly nameless cigarettes.
It does look like
Joint.
Is that what they called them?
I saw it just going out of the room. I saw it and watching her do these. These are wonderful.